Hi, so I have already pre-pulled some cards for you from the spring week. We are very much leaping and bounding into the arms of spring as we have the spring equinox and the sun moves into Aries on the 20th. So my first card out was one of sneaky deception. We do have Mercury retrograde at the moment. This retrograde is very different to a lot of Mercury retrogrades. We have Mercury piggybacking on Venus's retrograde. Venus and Mercury are both retrograding through Aries right now as we approach the sun in Aries. And while we normally have these kind of like deceptions of the mind going on in a retrograde, this retrograde is being guided very strongly by Venus. It's like the emotions are coming in first and then we are mentally processing. So Venus, the planet of love, is guiding the way for Mercury to process what's happening emotionally in the mind. So it's very interesting. So we're not necessarily getting the usual mercurial deceptive tricks. This might be something that you have actually had sitting in your energy, a feeling of being deceived sitting in your energy for some time. And now the emotions and the thoughts are finally being processed. I've got like 3 rows of cards and I'm going to read them as 3 rows going down. I might just show you actually. So them's my rows. So I'm going to be reading like this. I feel like this is the center and this is like possibility. And this is like reflecting on it and this is where it could go. I feel like the reading has a core and these are unprocessed things that we're currently processing, that we thought maybe we were getting this, but we're realizing maybe this, but actually maybe we're going here. So I just wanted to share that. And I'm back in the room. So going down that first row, we then have this working together, the 3 of Pentacles, to build something beautiful, you know, a church with all of these grapes and vines. So maybe you felt deceived about some sort of building a future somewhere. Some sort of what felt like a team has maybe turned out not to be. What you thought you were building has maybe come apart somehow. You were maybe deceived about something you thought you were building with others. And you know, they're building a church in that picture or some sort of cathedral building. And so there was faith there. And then outside the church, feeling left out in the cold. You have had to detach from this and accept that you're on your own with it after all. Maybe it's not a possibility. Maybe you feel deceived into having believed something. Maybe you feel deceived by yourself about when we let ourselves believe in something and then it turns out not to be so. When we let our mind or our feelings, do their imaginings and then we get let down. That's what I'm feeling. Then we get the Two of Swords, and this is, I don't know where to go with this. And so cutting it off, detaching, like maybe the feeling was too big, the questions, the not knowing which direction to go with it was too much, too big. This card represents the mental activity and the two directions to go, not knowing which to cut off, not knowing which to pursue, and feeling blinded, unable to make a decision. Feeling trapped by this indecision. Down the middle column, we kick off with this very generous chap. He has all the dollar, and he's sharing it. He's balanced. He's bringing the harmony by blessing those who are less fortunate with his big wad of wealth, which kind of balances things out. Does it? Don't know. These people are still in need and they're having to rely on this wealthy man. So does it really bring balance in actuality? And we have those Libran scales of balance. This is a charitable card though. It's like meant with good intent. It represents an act of generosity and giving and receiving. It's hard to know whether these people are able to give back in this situation as they're on their knees. In this depiction specifically. And then we have the Page of Pentacles, very mercurially, very kind of Virgo-y card, like the Apprentice. And beginning to, like, the Page is the youngest and the most innocent / insolent member of any of the royal cards, the court cards. But he's got hope. He's got hope and he wants to learn, he wants to invest, and he's got his eyes set on that pentacle. We just had that full moon eclipse in Virgo, but this is like setting out on something with hope. Hope of learning and investing and seeing where it goes. The Page does always, and Virgo particularly, the sign, is someone who is of service and someone who wants to learn. It's the apprentice, but they do need to be able to grow into mastery, to be satisfied. We then get the Empress. Abundance, everything she needs. She's chill. She's like the most royal of royal. She is like all 4 queens blended into one. And she is the embodiment of feminine energy. She is representative of Venus. The Empress is very much a sort of Venus type energy. That loving, giving, balanced female who's in power but sensitive and self-assured without any arrogance. It's very divine feminine energy. And I feel like that's, that Venus that we've got retrograding. Venus is on a long journey, and there's going to be a star point, a Venus star point, where the Sun and the North Node and Venus will all become conjunct. I think it's towards the end of the month. And that is going to be a massive realization, because Venus traveling through Aries is in its detriment. But then suddenly it will get all of this energy, like it's a bit debilitated in Aries. It's not as comfortable in there. Aries is a very masculine sign, and Venus is the feminine planet. Aries is ruled by Mars, the masculine planet. Venus isn't her most comfortable there. But she will reach the star point and she will receive all that good juju from the sun. She will receive a big kick of energy from the sun, and realizations, I feel, will come through. And this sort of self-love and self-acceptance and strength of love will get activated at that point. We then have the Ten of Cups. The Ten of Cups is beautiful, daydreamy. It's very Neptunian, all of the glamour and the dream life and the daydreams, and often the smoke and glamour of all of that. So it's a lovely, lovely card of like love and like, I can have it all, it's amazing, this is my dream. But there's nothing really like pegging it into the realms of reality, is the downside. So I feel like that is like stacked with potential and possibility of something that could have been received or was perceived as it was being received, this dream, this empowerment, in a balanced way, and this generosity and wanting to invest in it. It's very interesting. There was a lot of potential that was seen. And there probably is still that potential there, but this left-hand column has happened, this deceit of some kind, this feeling left out in the cold, this having to detach. Something went wrong. The potential was maybe lost for some reason. On the right-hand column, we kick off with the Queen of Cups. We do, having said about that Neptune card, again, Cups cards are all quite Neptune-y because they're all quite Piscean. We have a lot going on in Pisces at the moment as well, with the North Node there, Saturn there, and Neptune there. Neptune is in this final degree of completion and is due to change sign into Aries soon, which will be the first time that's happened in anyone's lifetime. And so again, there's this massive sort of completion, acceptance of like an end of an era almost, and having to close things out. We got a lot of that with the eclipse energy coming in, but the ruling planet of Pisces, there's the final sign of the zodiac, the last bit of the wheel, and then Neptune being on the final degree point before it tips over into Aries, and it's like, you know, not happened in anyone's lifetime. It's about to give us a taste of what it's like in Aries. So that, as well as the North Node being in Pisces, doing a completion, and the eclipses, the kickoff of eclipse season, and it's going into a load of eclipses. It's all very closing out what doesn't serve you, what doesn't fill your heart with joy, and what isn't true to your soul, to your path, to your journey. Anyway, I feel like that is very much like that was the dream. This is what I wanted. And this left-hand column is that like closing out of it. And this Queen of Cups, she's like sat staring into her cup. She doesn't look amazingly happy. And there's little birds like drinking from her cup. She is very in her emotions, but she's sending it downstream. Pisces is very like flow with the water and let it swim, let it go off. It comes in, it comes out. It leaves as easily as it arrives. So there may be something about needing to emotionally release here is what I'm getting. But there is a huge amount of love. And it's not without deep emotion that we let it go. But it's easier to let it go. Then we get the Queen of Wands. She is a lot more sassy about letting go. The Sun is about to move into Aries. The Queen of Wands is a very Aryan sign, very Aryan queen. It's very me first. Maybe we have had to get into this me first energy, my turn, where is my, you know, where is my sip of the cup? And having to comfortably or not so comfortably plant that stick in the ground, declare a boundary and say no more, and I'm here for me, and this is what I need to do for myself. And this, I feel, is part of the early stage of this Venus journey into retrograde and going into Aries. You may have had some fiery disagreements also with that, or there may be some coming in as we're on that middle, on that right hand column. You may have to stand your ground. And we get the Death card. The Death card is a transformation. The Death card is a rebirth. The Death card is letting go, cutting off the dead wood, and accepting that you cannot have the old things hanging around in your energy if you are to transform and move forward. Death is a natural part of life. Endings happen. And death does not judge that. Death accepts those endings in a healthy manner. And we need to know that things will come back into balance. We have the Two of Cups, giving and receiving love. For yourself, between you and another person, I'm getting a lot of sense of forgiveness as well. I need to forgive and let go of past things in order to move forward and start fresh. to re-find that hope, that potential in your life, but not without strong boundaries, and a balanced, harmonious place, a self-loving place, a peaceful place. We're accepting of who we are, what we need to let go, what we need, and everything else needs to die off to regenerate, so we can come back into relationship with ourselves, with those around us. Maybe we need to forgive some people around us in order for us to move on. We need to balance out relationships with ourselves, relationships with family, friends, and maybe there's some things we need to look at in a different light from this. I feel like we need to release all of this feeling left out in the cold, and feeling deceived and indecisive, and this detachment. We need to go into our feelings about it and let ourselves feel it, to release it and to rebirth it, whatever it is. Only you will know that. I just got this new deck, Seasons of the Witch, Ostara Oracle. So the spring equinox marks Ostara, the Celtic festival of spring. And so bring in the spring. What are the cards going to bring? We have Jasmine. It is through yourself that divinity is able to weave magic. That's beautiful. We have all these leaping hares, new beginnings, fertility. Rabbits represent fertility. We have this sort of trine of rabbits. The triangle is a very balanced and harmonious symbol in many cultures. It's like the outer world, the self, and us within the world. So the world at large, an inner and outer self, all sort of unified together. And a new, fresh beginning for us. We've got the egg as well, rebirth. If we are able to connect to ourself and the universe and our spirituality, and believe and invest in our connection to all things and our place in the cycle, then we can have this rebirth. And I mean, jasmine is just the most beautiful, intoxicatingly beautiful smell, in my opinion. That's the reading, guys.